Welcome to Pushing Past Polite, where we talk about what matters and make the world a little more just. I'm Kori.
And I'm Laura. Thanks so much for joining us today. So we wanted to talk about a big milestone that also is an identity marker that we share. So we talked a little bit in the first episode about who we are and what makes us connect as people. And one of those things is the year 1982. It was a warm day. We were both spring, one spring baby, one summer baby. But yeah, it was one of those things where, we were kind of trying to feel each other out at work to be like, how old are you? It's not really a common popular HR question, but somehow it came up.
Yeah, I think because we were approaching our 40th birthdays. And I think both of us were feeling like we're walking into it. Like we weren't trying to pretend that we weren't turning 40. Like we were both kind of like openly walking into this space, and we started talking about it. And somebody else in our circle at work was also turning 40.
Was she before us or after us? I want to say first.
I want to say she was first. I think she was April.
April, May, June, which made making that connection across the three of us a little less awkward.
Yes.
And once we revealed the 1982 in common, all of the cultural markers that we've shared and like the times we bust out in song in conversations makes
Started
so
to
much
make
more
sense.
sense.
Yes.
Of course you would sing that when you sing that. So turning 40 was something we both kind of embraced, as Kori mentioned. And for me, it's that I probably look 40. um, I feel real 40 these days. And a part of that is parenting and being tired perpetually. And I think the other part of that is I have a genetic predisposition for gray hair on both sides of my family. And that's another thing that a little bit pre-pandemic, but certainly pandemic, I embraced was not coloring it anymore. And so if anything, people round up a little more than they should. And I get real pissed about that. But Kori, on the other hand, I don't know. You don't quite look your 40.
Well, thank you. No, I mean, I think for me, having babies later in life. So one of a job I used to work at, a large nonprofit before our current space, my boss, who was also like a mentor, she said the thing that can make you feel youngest is like being pregnant at 40. She had her son when she was like 40. And then another colleague of ours was pregnant at 40. And like I was in a work environment where there's all these very, professional working women, and people were having babies later. So it wasn't like a strange thing. So having my kiddos at 37 and 39, walking into 40, I was like, yeah, I'm all over this shit, like
I'm ready to put this chapter to bed.
I'm ready to put this chapter to bed. Like I got it all. I got I eked out my last little bit of youthfulness in my 30s with the 2 boys, and now it's like, bring it on, 40, let's see what you got.
Yeah, I didn't approach it with fear. I think part of it is, recognizing that it's a blessing to reach a certain age, right? Like everybody, right? Having lost people in your lives unexpectedly or young or
And so many people during the pandemic of all different ages, from the COVID aspect of the pandemic, but also just like all the violence that was happening, and that continues. But that too, there was so much loss of life in that 2 years that we were really shut down and locked down,
Yeah.
that I was also feeling like, this needs to be a celebration.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and then the mental health wave that went with the pandemic as well, and all these people feeling like life wasn't worth it. And I was really fortunate to not feel that. Felt really lucky to be 40. Again, can't lie about the age. It shows, it is what it is, and I'm okay with it. Um, But also too, I think what shocks me is 40 used to feel so old, you know? In my head, I'm not 40. I understand this. My body does not lie. It is totally fine. But to me, 40 was like, wow, you're close to retirement. And it's not. It's
It's
really
like,
not.
have you seen Murder, She Wrote or The Golden Girls or
Yes.
any of those, right? Like, those people were supposed to be in their 50s, like 10 years away from where we are. And it feels like they were 25 years away. Like, now being 40,
Yes.
looking at those programs, you're like, "No, you guys were had to be 65." Even though the actors may have been that those ages,
Yeah.
it was like but they were supposed to be portraying these younger people, which created a construct in my head of, like, what that age should look like and be like.
Yeah.
But n
Hang up your shoes, go ahead and turn it in and live with your
yes,
friends because your husband's already dead.
'cause your husband's dead.
He's
But
dead.
now, being closer to that age, it's like, that's not what it looks like for me or so many people who I know who are in their late 40s, early 50s, like, it doesn't look like that at all.
No, and some of that is generationally, some of that is the message that Hollywood was saying about who's youthful and who's not, right?
Mhm.
But you just mentioned your coworkers having babies at 40. So,
Right.
I mean, it's really doesn't look like that. You're still chasing
Mm-mm.
infants and toddlers in your
Mhm.
40s.
Mhm.
So, I'm still shocked when I see it on paper, when I think about it in those terms, like that 41 is approaching, or I'm in my 41st year approaching. That
Mhm.
is really pretty wild to me. But I was completely at peace with the number itself.
Yeah.
Um, so how did you think about celebrating it? Like, what was your
I was running
headspace?
away. I was running away. That was what I was doing.
Running away from not the age.
No, life. Like, I needed a hard break.
Mm,
Like, I had 2 babies during a pandemic. We weren't going anywhere. People were coming to us, family members were coming to us, but we were kind of limiting our travel and things like that. I prior to the pandemic was traveling much more for work, and that was giving me opportunities. So I knew that I wanted to go somewhere and I wanted to go on a vacation type of trip without any children. And I also wanted to just go with some girlfriends,
I love that.
you know. But I wanted him to come. I wanted my husband to come. But coordinating his schedule is entirely too much effort, and it's like, "This isn't about you." So, if it's like, you're not gonna do what's needed to kind of coordinate your schedule and figure out when you can be free, then, like, I'm just gonna do me, and, my girlfriend's, like, picked up the mantle of
I love
planning
that.
the stuff, and, like, my mother-in-law came and our niece, and they were here with my kids, and, I went to Puerto Rico, which is just one of my happy places.
I love that.
Yeah, I used to go there every year when I was in my 20s. There was like a 5 or 6 year period that I would go every year, and that's just my happy place. And we stayed at this glorious resort called the El Conquistador in Fajardo,
Could
and,
you say that with a little more flavor? That was lovely. Say that one more time.
the El Conquistador. Um
I love it.
Mhm. It's on the far side of the island. It's near the rainforest, near the Bacardi factory, and it has its own private, like, island that is its activity island. So there's a beach over there, you can snorkel, horseback ride,
Oh, that sounds
um,
amazing.
sailing, jet skis, all that kind of stuff. They have a water park on the property. It wasn't fully operational because of the hurricanes that have been devastating
Mm,
Puerto Rico, but, it was mostly operational and
operational enough for a great time.
for a great time, yeah,
Yep.
and it wasn't fully at full capacity, so we had a lot of spaces, that were not hectic and busy, and one of the days we were in a pool, just us, and it was an infinity pool, and we could just views, ocean, it was
Uh,
just
I'd like to run away next. Can I try that for 41?
yes.
That's so cool. And how did you decide, like, who was gonna be with you?
Oh, I just wanted a couple of people, and so it was like
Just you and 300 of your closest friends?
I need
Infinity pool?
300 of my closest friends. So, I invited, like, my sisters, my sister, my sister-in-law, my husband, my brother's wife. And then just, like, a couple of friends who I do a lot of work with, and we've been over the course of the pandemic, we've been doing a lot of stuff together. Like, these were the people who I was having physical, regular touch points with,
Mhm.
safely, but more regularly. We were doing keynotes together and workshops together and retreating together and all that kind of stuff. And so that was this group. There were just 5 of us.
It sounded like a lot more in that list, but some of those
Mm-mm.
people met multiple roles, it sounds like.
Yeah, it was just there were just 5 of us.
Love it. I love that you made that time. I love that your friends picked up the slack in terms of the planning load because that can take a lot of energy. And
Yeah,
then it feels weird, right? Sometimes to do all that planning for yourself or to make other people come. So I love that you had a team that did that for you. That's fantastic.
it was lovely. What about you?
Well, I struggle with birthdays in general. Not again, not because I'm afraid of aging, but I just have a weird relationship with them. I have an estranged relationship with my mom, and I think birthdays always make me think of my connection to her. Um, so I think that's part of it. I think the other part is not
Like,
wanting.
pause.
Yep.
So when you say birthdays make you think of your connection with her, you mean because like, she gave birth to you, and so it's like this reminder, the physical a
There was literally a cord.
right,
Yeah,
right.
right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's a big part of it. I'm her first, so her motherhood is tied up in my life, in a way, right? So that
Mhm.
identity. And she always it's actually very sweet. And I do have lots of good things to say about her from earlier years. So it's complicated now, but it was sweet then. But she used to tell me like my birth story every birthday. Like, oh, I
Oh.
remember. Yeah. So I just for me, like when I turn the page of another year, and we're not in contact and in good healthy space relationship wise, it's a little bittersweet, it's a little weird.
Yeah.
And the other part too, what you mentioned about your friends picking up the mantle for you. I am not great at asking for that or articulating something that I would really like, if I'm honest.
Mhm.
And, in fact, my friends know that about me, and so they did do was beautiful and perfect, and I could cry thinking about it. I didn't plan anything for myself, and I think they knew that. They kind of were feeling out what's going on and what are we doing and what's happening, and I'm like, "Absolutely nothing. It's Tuesday," or whatever the heck day it fell on. So this group of 5 women and me, we get together pretty much once a month where they're all local, obviously, and connect on a particular topic of interest. And sometimes it's book club and sometimes it's other things. But they were feeling it out. There was a regularly scheduled get together already right around my birthday, and they hijacked it and made it kind of special for me.
Oh,
So
nice.
yeah, it was, they did a margarita bar. We had because my birthday is May 6th, which is the basically International Hangover Day. You've got
Mm.
Cinco de Mayo where everybody parties, and then my day, they're, like, exhausted and hungover. So there's Mexican themed food-ish, but kind of loosely. And, um, and they presented me with the absolute sweetest gifts, like, really thoughtful things, like knowing that they
Mhm.
knew me. Like, one when we had gone to her house in rotation, I had commented about, like, the smell of the hand soap in her bathroom, but she remembered that I liked it, got
Oh,
that for me. Yep. Beautiful fresh cut flowers, from another friend, and
sweet.
as a matter of fact, I have it on my desk, the not the flowers, that would be amazing, but this, like, really beautiful journal, Morgan
Mhm.
Harper Nichols, and we love her stuff, and they all took a turn and, like, passed around and wrote, like, a note to
Oh,
me.
Laura.
It's I bawled. I just they're like, "Are
Yeah.
you okay? Is this an okay day?" I was like, "No."
Yes, I love it so much. I'm so happy.
Yeah,
I'm so happy.
but it was just right, because with 3 kids and 2 dogs and a job, like, the likelihood of me getting away I love that you made it happen, and I'm not judging you at all for hitting the road. In fact, I applaud you. But it's just not super feasible for me to do easily.
Mhm.
And given that I'm not willing to articulate and ask, this was like it was perfect in ways that I didn't even know I needed, but it was beautiful.
Mhm.
I felt really loved.
Mhm. That's awesome. It was almost serendipitous how it worked for me to be able to get away because
Hmm.
I had some other things going on that required my travel,
Hmm.
and so I was able to, have my mother-in-law come for, like, 2 weeks, and in that window of time, part of it was this getaway for my birthday, part of it was some work travel, and then we ended up celebrating my husband's birthday, my brother-in-law's birthday, and our niece's birthday because their birthdays are in July, but we weren't gonna be there,
With them.
so
Yeah.
with them, so while they were here, we celebrated that too, and I'm with you with the ask for help. So, the amount of planning I knew that I needed to get away. Like, I knew in my soul that I
Mhm.
needed that time away.
Yes.
So, all the planning that I was able to accomplish, though, was booking a room that I knew that I wanted,
Tell me the name of the resort one more time.
El Conquistador, and I
Love.
didn't care how much it cost. Like,
Mhm.
you know what I'm saying? I was like, "This is what we're doing. I'm turning 40, whatever."
Yep.
And,
Sign the invoice at the end.
exactly,
Yep.
exactly. And then, I got a flight, and what happened with my friends were they came over, and we were having a dinner party gathering, and I had kind of, like, sent out an invitation. And in the invitation, I was like, "This is what I'm doing. You're welcome to come if you feel like it," right? Like,
Happy birthday to me.
happy
I don't give a
birthday.
shit if you come or not. It'd be cool, but if you don't, my ass is still going to Puerto Rico.
I'm still going to Puerto Rico.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, like, so I was like, "This is what I'm doing. It would be awesome if you guys could join, whatever." And so, they were over, a couple of my friends were over, and I, like, was having all these ideas, but I was just like, "Honestly, I feel super overwhelmed by
Yeah.
the idea of planning." I was able to do all that I can do, and I'm happy to just go and sit there. And I'm like, "Unless you guys wanna plan it," and they're like, "Yep, done."
I love that. That makes so much more sense with how that happened because I can't imagine calling any 5 busy women in my life as much as they love me and being able to clear all of our calendars. In fact, the 6 of us are trying to do a little weekend away, not even for a birthday, just to go. And we're already like, yeah, somebody won't be able to go. It's inevitable.
Yeah, yeah.
I love that. I love that you were
And
like,
several somebodies couldn't go.
yeah. So
Yeah,
you ended up with the 5.
I ended up with the 5, and it was like but this is when I could go,
Yep.
and so it was a long weekend, and I ended up flying with one of my friends, like, we were on the same flight, so we literally we traveled together, we were at the airports
I love it.
together. Uh-huh, and they set up everything, it was so just gorgeous, like, we had a driver, Manny, he picked us up from the airport, we had
When you say Manny as in manicure or as in like you had a
no,
male.
Manny, that was the guy's name, the driver's
I'm like
name, Manny.
I'm picturing from, Modern Family where the male nanny, they call the Manny. I was like, "You didn't
No,
bring
no.
children. Who would you need a nanny
No,
for?"
I mean, like, Manny from Modern Family, the
Oh
kid, the
my god.
guy, Manny,
Favorite character, best character on that show, Jay.
right,
I just love him. I love him. Okay,
right.
sorry. Manny the driver. Got it.
Yeah, Manny the driver, and so, like, we originally all of our flights were supposed to get in within, like, 45 minutes of each other, but there were some issues, so just the 2 of us who flew together rode with Manny, we met the others at the resort, and it was just
I
fantastic.
love it. I love that you started with what worked for you. And, that's a lesson to me to kinda carry forward is, like, think about what I want, what I would need, and then invitation, and if you can and no hard feelings. I bet you're not at all mad about the other people who couldn't make it.
No,
Nope.
no, because the reality was, like, I really needed
Yep.
the rest,
Yep.
you know? I needed to go somewhere where nobody needed me.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was really what it came down to. I just needed to be somewhere where no one needed me, and my friends who were with me were there to support me in what I needed, right?
Yeah.
So, one of my girlfriends, she and I are like the eaters, and so every morning, she and I were up
Breakfast.
breakfast,
It's
and
ready.
it was like, yes, we were getting in our little golf cart and driving over to the main house, getting some breakfast, and yeah, it was just even thinking about it, I'm feeling the, like, surge of energy and refresh
I love that.
from that.
Maybe it was that great supply kit you brought with you after all the drinking. Can you please talk about that?
So, one of my friends so 2 of them coordinated it primarily. And so we have similar mindsets. So I purchased little party favor type bags that were reusable, more like toiletry bags.
Okay.
And then they brought the, We Got Lit kit, and and it's a little
Hold on, trademark. Please trademark that.
right, trademarked. And so
We got lit TM,
mhm, and so we got
lit kit.
it's a little pouch, and it had all of the things that adult women and men who may be partying for the weekend need. So, I had gotten Tylenol, they got Advil. I had Liquid IV, they had some other sort of, like, electrolyte powder in there and some, vitamin C packs.
I love it.
We both got, like, the under eye cooling patches, hand sanitizer, um,
No barf
a little
bags.
no barf bags, little
Ugh,
Vaseline type thing, just keep you fresh. It was, just like the basic things that you a hairband. I put some mosquito
repellent? Know
rings.
what you mean, like
Yeah,
the
but
bracelets.
rings, like the ones you can the bracelets. We had some of those. Just like the essentials. And and then the room was stocked with water and everything like that, and we bought alcohol. And I don't know if you remember, but at one point there was this meme thing trending on social, and it was like a group of friends, and it's like, "I'm gonna be hungover, I'm gonna be hungover, I'm gonna drink a bunch of different drinks, and I'm gonna be hungover." Yeah, that's what it was
I
like.
missed
So
it,
I
but I
have a
love it.
video of myself doing that,
Doing that video, reenacting it?
singing that, yeah,
That
and
is
I'm, like,
so cute.
pouring tequila into a cup,
Love
and
it.
they brought, cups with our names on them, so we all had our
Love it.
own, like, designated cups with our names, so we had our little drinks at the pool, and we had a butler.
With his name, Manny.
His name was not Manny, his name was Tim, and he was phenomenal.
I love it. Shout out
Yeah.
to El Conquistador.
El
I
Conquistador,
love it.
Tim,
I
he
love
was
it.
fantastic.
That's a great idea for a gift for a friend too, right? So let's say you're the friend who gets invited to go on a birthday weekend and can't make it. The We Got Lit kit as a gift for
Yeah,
everybody, or even just the birthday girl. That sounds really like a great idea.
yeah.
All right, Etsy shop, let's do it.
Let's do it. Boom. I'm sure that's where it was.
Yeah, you're right. Let's be honest.
Right,
I
like,
revoked
let's
the
be honest.
trademark. I don't want to get sued. Let me talk to my lawyers. I don't have a lawyer. Spoiler alert. Okay, so what does 40 feel like? We're here. We've been here for a while. In fact, at the time of this recording, we're like 40 and a half.
Mhm. It feels great.
It does, doesn't it?
Mhm.
I see, that night at dinner with my friends when they made me cry like a baby, um, the oldest in the group who's also in her 40s, so she's still like certainly a peer, but she's got more distance into her 40s than the rest of us. She said, she's like, 20s, you don't know who you are, 30s, you're kind of coming into your own 40s, you know yourself. And
Mhm.
I feel that. Like, I don't have my life all figured out necessarily, but I know the kind of energy I want in my life and I know the kind of
Mhm.
energy I don't. And I love myself enough to set really firm boundaries around that in ways that I would have really worried about what people thought in my 30s.
Yep.
You know?
Yes, I totally
I know
know.
you know. That's why we get
Yes.
this.
That's why we get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want your energy in my life, right? Like that's part
Right.
of this. It's just you want to be with people who make you better and not feel like you have work to do and just maintaining
And
moods.
people who make you better, people who you can be yourself with,
Yep.
and people who want what's best for you.
Ooh, yeah. Who cheer you on?
Yeah, people who cheer you on. There's people who are supportive and encouraging genuinely. It's not a competition.
I'm thankful
Um,
that I feel like I have a really good gut read on people, and I feel like I always have. So even though I
mhm.
might have had a harder time finessing the politics of creating space in the past, I've always known. So for me, it's
Yes.
not like a 40, like I'm turning 40 and I see with new eyes who's here for me and who's not. I don't feel that. I've
Mhm.
always known, and I'm real good with just cutting it off. Do you know what I mean?
Right. I know exactly what you mean. It's like you're like, "Yeah, whatever, I'm good. Keep my distance. I don't need that energy in my space
That's
at
exactly
all."
right. I
Mhm.
wish you well. No hard feelings.
Right.
Here's the fence. Here's the gate.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're locking the gate.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. Here's the fence, and then if the fence doesn't work, then I'm gonna put some wood paneling over that fence
I might make it a
and
privacy fence
privacy
because
fence, and then I
maybe
might make it
wall.
a cinder block wall
Yes, and then I'm gonna
if
build
I
a
have
bomb
to.
shelter from your ass because it's just not worth it.
But I'm building it in your direction.
Yes,
I'm keeping my space open and
green,
free and clear
beautiful.
and receptive to the universe and all of its abundance and love and positivity. But I have to just
Protect you from yourself a little.
protect my peace. And yeah.
That's it.
Mhm.
Okay, cheers to 40 and 41
Cheers to
and
40
all that comes next.
and 42 and 43 and 44,
God willing, all the rest. I'll take it.
all the rest. Amen. Yeah.
Forever and ever, amen. I like that. Well, thanks you guys so much for listening and tuning in. We really appreciate it.
We want to hear about your experience coming of age, having milestone birthdays, whether it be 30, 21, 25, when you could first rent your car,
16.
40, 45, whatever. Those journeys and the lessons that you've learned as you've grown.
Yeah, we look forward to wisdom from you for people who are further ahead. And we want to tell everybody who's coming up behind us, it just gets better. Don't be scared.
Yeah. But keeping people around you who are in it with you and for you, that's one way it gets better,
I love that.
you know?
Thanks so much. We would love your feedback on how this is hitting for you. If there's anything you want us to talk about, let us know. Otherwise, please follow us on the socials and we'll check in with you next time.
Thank you for joining us on Pushing Past Polite.
Bye.
Thank you so much for listening. We encourage you to go deeper in your trusted spaces or cultivate new spaces that foster meaningful connection. Please follow us on social media to keep the conversation going.
We are at Pushing Past Polite on Instagram and Facebook, and Push Past Polite on Twitter.
Pushing Past Polite is an independent podcast with Kori and Laura from Just Educators.
Our cover art was designed by Rachel Welsh DeIga of DeIga Designs, and our audio is produced by Keith at Headset Media. Until next time, don't get stuck talking about the weather. Have conversations that matter and make your world a bit more just.